Go.
Hello and welcome to the cert-manager bi-weekly meeting. Um, it is Thursday, the 18th of September. Um, as always, we abide by the CNCF Code of Conduct, so we're all going to be very friendly to each other. We have actually some things on the agenda this week, which are so it should be quite a good one. Uh, First things first, we don't have any immediate shout outs or announcements in the doc, but if anyone has any announcements or shout outs, speak now. Nope. Cool. In which case, we can move on to the agenda items. So, first things first, we have uh, Acme HBO1 metrics cardinality issue. Do you want
Yeah.
to speak about
So this was not a big issue. We don't have to solve it or anything. So if you open up the issue, it's just something that I noticed that someone had filed where because the Acme paths were uh, so different for each of the domains that they wanted the cert for, the metrics got overwhelming apparently. So they wanted a resolution for this. Uh, I thought of a couple of things to do, but I'm not sure what to do and like if it will break the existing users. So that's one of my concerns too. Um, so one of the things that I thought we could do was basically normalize uh, the metrics so that it doesn't create unique entries for each path, and instead it creates metrics for each operation or something like that.
potentially? I mean, it looks to me like because we're taking the first two segments, uh,
Hmm.
the other way is we just lop off the last segment.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I can see the issue. Having IDs inside your metric labels is a bad thing. Uh, don't know, without going too deep on solutions. Yeah, I'll happily review any pull request to fix this.
Okay, okay, so I'll probably work on it then. Okay, so
Uh,
that's probably done then. Uh,
Probably a good first issue. Do you want to assign yourself to it if you
yeah,
want
I
it?
can assign myself to it. Yeah.
Excellent. Um, I don't know how we can easily test this, but yeah. Just just making sure maybe we have a function that checks various URL formats and make sure we don't leak IDs. Cool. Moving entry issuers to avoid cloud dependency is
That might be a bigger discussion, so we could probably finish everything else before that.
okay. Uh, Mael, Ma- you have some commitment.
Yeah, okay, so it's
I,
just
I
a
was
few
going to say you got
words.
commitment issues, but that's a whole different.
Yeah. Yeah. So, a few words. Eric, earlier this week, Eric is not here today, unfortunately, but I think 2 weeks ago, or maybe a month ago, in one of the biweeklies, Eric complained about the lack of reviews on the cert-manager projects. And this has been raised to the CyberArk leadership, and we're trying to address, at least for the short term, in, um, in the immediate future, we're trying to get more time to review things, and there might be bigger changes, positive bigger changes in January of next year. So uh, hopefully Eric and Hemant and everybody has seen that we're trying to do more reviews these days. Or I am, I don't know about others. I think Richard also, maybe.
Oh, not. probably as much as you. But if anyone pings me for a review, assigns me, then pings me on Slack, I will do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the same for me. When Eric DMs me with a PR, I cannot not review it. But yeah, I've been trying to do a bit more. And also, as it's something that is happening in the Slack, cert-manager dev Slack. There's a conversation about me adding this weird label. Uh, it's the label is called CYBR, which is the acronym for CyberArk. I set up to mm, copy GitHub issues into our internal Jira board in order to fix one big problem that I think we have. We're not, our team is not looking at the OSS stuff enough to be able to prioritize open source work and also, I don't know. We just don't talk about open source stuff at all. And it's really hurting, at least it's hurting me because I don't ever think about open source. It's really hard to focus on open source when it's never mentioned. Anyways, I'm trying to share positive things. It's going to get better. At least we're going to try to fix the immediate problem that Eric was sharing. And hopefully we will have more maintainers, right? That's the long-term solution.
Yeah, just to talk about as well. We had a chat in the stand-up on Tuesday where David, your line
Manager,
manager,
yeah.
Bill, came along. We had a chat about it, and one point I made was we do. I think it's a good thing to broaden our maintainer base, get as many maintainers as possible. But you can see from other projects like external secret operators that without without a company willing to dedicate a few engineers of resourcing time, it's hard to keep momentum. So yeah, having CyberArk continue to help out and keep the project going is like for now it's completely crucial.
And one last thing that we discussed in that morning stand-up earlier this week was this idea of an extra person, probably not a developer, but something like we talked about community manager, we talked about someone who would help us triage and keep track of what's happening, remind us of things. I don't
Almost
know exactly. But
almost a project
this
manager.
project manager, yeah, that was the term we started with.
Yeah. So someone could triage incoming issues, like help organize meetings about important things, project manage stuff.
Mm-mm-mm.
But
So I've contacted this the Caverno community manager, but I haven't. She hasn't responded yet, so I'm still waiting. We may or may not get someone from CyberArk. I honestly don't know what's going to happen, but it is in the air.
if not, we can message all our PM friends and see if any of them want to do some open source stuff.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Um,
I said something funny the other day. I said maybe Red Hat will help with that. They have a lot of have an entire uh, team of people dedicated to this type of work on projects, and they have been more active in cert-manager, much more than before. Lerner White, the person who contributed this Acme, or I can't remember where it was, but I think it's an Acme thing. You, Richard, you worked on it. It's an API, something that changed in the API.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Oh,
was
Hemant, you know about this.
yeah. So I think yeah, that's she or he, I don't know, was from Red Hat. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And he's on the Red Hat cert-manager operator project as
Hmm.
well.
Oh, awesome.
So it's a good thing for cert-manager. It's a person that who is also like me, who is also paid to do this.
And that's interest of time. Do
Yeah,
we have any
go
more
ahead.
points to make about this CyberArk and OSS? No. Then once again, Mal, it's your turn again because we want to talk about CVEs and
I
disclosure.
don't know. Do you prefer talking about Renovate or yeah, I want to talk about CVs. Last biweekly, I wanted to talk about this. I couldn't. So I'm going to catch you all up on this. In Internally at CyberArk, we are getting reports of CVEs. We are rebuilding images and stuff for cert-manager, but we still and like anyone, like any project, we have to deal with these CVEs that are reported by Trivies or any other scanner on third-party dependencies that aren't affecting cert-manager. And for now, the way we have been handling CVEs is we only disclose first-party CVEs, the ones that affect cert-manager directly, not in dependencies. And for any third-party dependency that has a CVE reported, we don't do anything. We just re-release cert-manager with a patch saying that we fixed a third-party CVE. But we don't explain how cert-manager is impacted. We don't, we don't have this sort of, I don't know if it's disclosure or communication. I think it's not a big deal, honestly, because no one is complaining anywhere. I cannot see anyone on Slack saying, "Oh, there is a CVE," or I cannot see anyone on GitHub saying that there is a CVE. But I still wanted to get some thoughts on this. Uh, so what I've done. Oh, damn, Adam.
I was just gonna say, yeah. Part of the problem is like a lot of the reports I assume you get are, even if they're in dependencies, are completely false positives because they're code paths that will certain manager will never ever execute. It's just the version has a CVE, so it gets flagged by scanners.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And most of the time, people can know they don't either. There's something cool like Cape. Is it the name of this tool? It's will do a runtime analysis of the CVEs. So instead of doing this static analysis tree, you'll get actual runtime one, and it allows you to remove all the third-party people. Oh, Richard.
Oh, just an example of a bogus scanning report.
Oh, that's on Artifact Hub. So right now we have the Go dependency. No, Debian? Why Debian?
No, it's flagging that SQL problem in the Go standard lib, which doesn't
Yeah,
affect
okay.
us.
That's the one. That's the one that I wanted to address. So currently there is this security tab, a security page on the cert-manager project that only uh, committers, people with the commit bit can access. But I think some people, I think Adam, you were against publishing this on this page if it's not an actual vulnerability.
Yeah, so I think we should totally be have a page where we say, yeah, we know about this. It's not a problem. But the security the GitHub security things, it's picked up by a lot of automation. So I don't know what and I'm worried that we wouldn't if we did have a severe security vulnerability in CyberArk, you kind of wouldn't be the wood for the trees with all the reports of upstream ones that don't even affect us.
I don't know. It really depends. I don't like the GitHub UI for this, honestly. And I looked at the Palo Alto security advisories page, and it is much clearer. When it's a 0, it shows as green. When it's a 9, it shows as red. And on it is easy to see the tree in the forest in this if you look at the Palo Alto advisories page.
So, I mean, I was just thinking, like, if we just had a security advisories page somewhere, like here, that just said, ideally, because going back to like the overhead of what we do and like keeping in maintainers, ideally it would be like pretty much entirely automated. Like we just if that
Yeah.
something gets flagged, we could just I don't know tag a GitHub issue with a certain label, and it gets picked up and put on the page.
Yeah.
Like some magic, but ideally we just have like a page where we would, and then real security advisories. Yeah, we'd publish in all the places and GitHub security advisories, so they get picked up by all the scanners and things like that.
Yeah, I like this idea.
There's the
If
trivia ignore page. There's the trivia ignore file where we list the some CVEs which we don't consider to be
Yeah,
relevant, and we have a little comment above it that says why. Perhaps we could turn that
wait,
into something.
actually, that I thought about this, but this is just for the CVs when we release. So when we release, we run the Truvy scanner. I think that's how it works, right?
no, we
It runs
run
right.
periodic scans of our own code base in Prow, I believe, and I believe this file is what stops it like blowing up.
Yeah.
So I like this ignore thing, but it doesn't plug into other tools. So that's why OpenVEX is a nice format for this. It's the same as this ignore file, except it can plug in many different other like sneak and so on.
So I lost the plot a bit. So where do we put that file, and what would be the outcome of what would be the knock-on effects? Would it sort of silence Artifact Hub, and would it silence Trivy, in
Yeah,
fact?
if they do pull this JSON document from somewhere, like we could serve it on the website, yes, they would. It would silence Artifact Hub and anyone else, but it's a voluntary thing. You need to configure your scanner to read this OpenVEX or VEX document, which is a JSON document.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not against embracing a standard like that. Again, I'd want it to be automated and also want a human readable version to be available, like on the website.
Yeah, yeah. Also, that
But
would be yeah,
whatever mechanism we can think of to report or easily flag CVs as not a problem, be it, I don't know, we create an issue with a certain label, we create a file in the repo, whatever mechanism that turns that into an OpenVEX output, we'd also want that to like update the website to have a clear, a visible page. So when people like post in Slack or raise a new issue, we can just link them to the page and go, we're aware it will be fixed at some point when we do a release because we do upgrade our dependencies.
S- Yeah, that makes sense. Uh, in order to know what to automate, uh, I would need to do it at least once or twice. Uh,
I mean, we can just it's the kind of thing you could probably do a proof of concept in your own GitHub area, like work out how you would integrate it, and then do a demo.
because your idea was to create an issue that would have some something to trigger uh,
Well, you
some
can.
automation.
I mean, GitHub Actions can be triggered off issues. You can have maybe have a GitHub Action trigger on issue raise with a certain label, or maybe or triggered when a label's added to an issue, and that way GitHub Actions could update the file.
Yeah. It, I don't know yet because all I want is to
It
get to
needs
that point where we have this Go 124 SQL
we
vulnerability that is acknowledged.
we've spent 10 minutes on this. I think we're going down a rabbit hole of implementation. I
Yeah,
think what
yeah,
we
yeah.
probably want to do is work out our objectives, and then start drafting a PR with a design doc that we can start commenting on. Even if the design doc is initially just objectives, like we want to be able to label issues and then have the website updated and an OpenVEX document. That way we can start actually thinking about implementation. Because I don't think if we talk about implementation, we'll be here for another 30 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. No, no. Yeah, yeah. So we're already in agreement on some things. Like we're not going to use the security advisories page, the GitHub one, for this. And by the way, I wanted to say it is an awkward UI. It's really meant for first like actual vulnerabilities rather than
Yeah, and it's a
um
useful tool in that it's hooked up to scanners. Like scanners will pull from security advisories. Um,
yeah.
just yeah, that's what it's designed for. It's not designed for the use case of just telling people everything's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't allow you that. No, yeah. Mm, I'll turn my HackMD into a design document.
Cool. I can talk about Renovate and then we can loop back. Cool. Renovate progress. Eric wanted me to talk about this because he couldn't make it. But as you well know, we have been porting Dependabot to Renovate for a couple of reasons. The first reason is repos like cert-manager have multiple Go mod files, and Dependabot does not like this and does not update the dependencies. And Renovate does like this. We are currently operating using a GitHub action, and there are multiple ways to install Renovate. There's an official GitHub app, but that can't run like post upgrade tasks, and we want it to run make generate when it updates a dependency, so the license file gets updated, etc. So currently we're hosting it in a GitHub action. We have raised an issue with Renovate to say, is there a version of the app or an exception you could raise to let us use the official app? But we'll see what they get back with in that discussion. So yeah, we have a GitHub action that is just here. This is deployed via Makefile modules. We also have centralized the configuration. So as opposed to having the Makefile module push out config to renovate everywhere, because on top of that file, you also have to have a root file with your renovate config in I think it's in .github renovate. Yeah. What we've done is we have a new repo, and we have the renovate config repo, and that allows you to centralize your config in a single place. So all our config for all our repos lives in here because they all use the same config, and that config is here. So you can see like we group the Golang extended dependencies, and like we skip review because they're official Golang ones. Things like that are all baked into this file, allowing us to centrally manage it for everything in the cert-manage org. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. It also lets you can put overrides in, so this extends, but you can also like if there are repo specific stuff like in cert-manage, we add these labels. We can totally do that. We can add additional like config here if you have any particular scanners we only want to run for this repo. So it's really powerful in that regard. On a tangent for that, we're also running ChainGuard, what's it called? STS.
STS.
Yeah, to issue the tokens for this, because it allows the auto upgrade ones to trigger the GitHub Actions. Because if you raise a PR from GitHub Actions by default, it doesn't trigger the on pull request GitHub Actions. So we've got around that by using STS, which was also already demoed last week, so I won't go into a deep dive. So yeah, we have made great progress. There's a lot of stuff we still want to try out. I would love for for example, the Makefile module upgrade to be ported into Renovate as well, to remove another like bespoke GitHub action. I mean, all the Makefile modules upgrade does is update the clone file. So having Renovate understand and update this would be great. We're still working out how to do that, but as it stands, it's currently upgrading all our dependencies. I mean, you can just see there's one here. It's raised a PR. It's giving you that. It's running the tests. It's failing the tests in some cases, but yeah, I think it's a good improvement because it's if we can get past this initial flood of dependencies, hopefully what allow us to do is keep on top of the dependencies, because some are a bit we do allow our projects to build up a few over time, especially in repos like cert-manager where Dependabot wasn't working.
Yeah, I also filed a issue where if we could see to update Kubernetes versions for like our CI, because I know we have been doing it manually. So I filed an issue and I'll take a look at it if we can do it through Renovate.
Yeah, I think anything that's got a version number that we want to regularly update, it's a good mechanism to do it. You can set some to auto merge and you can set some to not. So we can have it raise pull requests for these things. Does anyone have any questions about the setup?
Does it
Oh,
does it update the release branches as well, Adam?
This is something Eric and I have talked about. We've not got around to it yet. The GitHub Actions version, we haven't figured out how to make it learn about security advisories yet. Because ideally, the only thing we kind of want to backport to release branches is not
Yeah.
every single dependency update, but the ones where like there's security involved. So the official app supports this, where you can say please only upgrade security ones because it has access to the GitHub security API. But we're still figuring it out. But that is something we want to get working, but we've not got working yet.
when you say the GitHub advisory thing, are you talking about using Govon check for this?
No, I don't know. I've not looked into it. Eric's looked into this. I've just been talking to him about it and reviewing his PRs. But like in Renovate, you can say please only upgrade ones that have security vulnerabilities. I have no idea how it gets the information.
Okay.
It talks to
Okay, that's fine.
security API.
I wonder how precise it is and how many false positives there are. But I don't know, I'm pretty sure Eric has everything figured out.
He's a smart cookie.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is where we want to do a lot
I-
more with Renovate, and we want to try and use the app if possible. But as it stands, it's now working in the majority of our repos and raising pull requests, and we're merging them. It's done some cool things for us as well. Like it started pinning digests for
yeah.
base images and for GitHub Actions, which is all good security practices. And it means while it would be a pain to manage digests by hand, because Renovate's going to update it for us, it's not a pain.
Yeah, I've reviewed these or one or two PRs like this, and I was very impressed. I don't know how it works, but it works and it's super cool.
Yeah.
So do we have
Thank you,
to?
Aaron.
How do
Thank
we?
you, Adam.
Is it free, Adam? Is it free because this is an open source project, or is it? I don't understand this distinction between the app and what we're doing. Are we compiling Renovate and using it?
No. So, right, well, So when I say it's free and even the app is free. When I say the app, I mean the GitHub app. You know, you can attach apps to your GitHub org.
Mm.
That's
Mhm.
one method of deploying Renovate.
Right.
In
And
that case, Renovate is not running under our GitHub Actions. It's running on like their whatever their app is running.
they're checking out that somewhere on one of their virtual machines or pods, they're checking out the cert-manager
Yeah,
source code and right.
I'm running Renovate. Yeah, the downside of it is like they don't let you run like post upgrade commands because that would be a security nightmare for them. I completely understand. Um, but
Right.
that's why we're running in GitHub Actions because you can. It's a bot. You can run it locally as long as you give it the right credentials. It's just it runs to completion and raises issues and pull requests. That's all it does. So we've got it running on a cron. So if you looked at the cert-manager, GitHub workflows, Renovate. It's just running on cron and with a manual option as well. Let me trigger it, and it just runs the Renovate to completion. And they've got an official action as well, which is what we're using, and that lets you run against it. Currently, I'm running against the repository. Yeah.
That sounds ideal. What's the what would be the advantage of using their app?
We haven't figured out how to make security for people requests work with the action. And yeah, it's just less things we manage equals better. That was the general idea.
Okay, yeah. It's a bit off topic, but I pulled in the latest Makefile modules into a JetStack project the other day. And it pulled in all the Renovate stuff, but that doesn't work, Tim said, until I set up the STS app or something.
Yeah,
So
this is very much this GitHub action is very much tailored towards STS. This is the one that gets created by Makefile modules, and it's very much tailored to STS.
Right.
But I mean, it's a good product, STS. It's I quite like the ability to create these locked down scope token exchanges. Cool.
Oh, and is it doing this is it then doing this for all the other sub projects as well, Trust Manager and
Yeah, because it's a Makefile module, we've rolled it out to that's just my CSI. This was the one we were testing again because no one's using this because they shouldn't. It's alpha.
Yeah, they probably put it to almost every repo now.
Yeah, so you see it's here, and you see it's running there. There's a couple of exceptions. For example, the sample issuer, for example, because it's so tailored to A, running make generate after it does stuff, and B, chain guard. We've reverted that back to Dependabot because we don't want to like force all these like weird things on people that are just forking our sample issuer.
right.
But for the most part, it's in all of the places at this point. So like Trust Manager, Chaudettes, opened yesterday by Renovate. All the tests are happening. Woo!
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
great.
all the heavy lifting's been done by Eric here. He's just not here to take the credit. So I'll bask in his reflected glory. Cool. If there's any other questions, we can loop back. We've got 15 minutes and to loop back to moving issuers after. Drink is off.
Yeah. Okay. So this I think came up even in like one of our discussions in the Slack chat, which was to basically how do we migrate the current issuers and not break our existing users. So I was thinking, obviously each of them would be a separate controller, and probably DNS01 would be its own repo, if I'm not wrong. And then like we should probably have I was thinking like an issuer SDK so that we can bridge between the existing configurations versus the new configurations.
So we have,
There's also yeah, so this uses webhook, right? If I'm not wrong.
no, so issuers don't use webhooks. It's
Mhm.
DNS. It's DNS
Solver.
uses webhooks.
Okay, okay.
So there's two things here. There's two plugins that we have for cert-manager currently. There's the issuers plugins that operate as Kubernetes operators, and they watch for certificate objects, and then will issue based on what their spec is. And then you've got DNS plugins for cert-manager, which are webhook based. So like, if we're talking specifically about issuers, they are just Kubernetes controllers.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we were talking about migrating issuers, right?
Yeah. Ideally, we'd want
Mhm.
to move all the issuers to like separate places because the cert-manager repo is polluted by a lot of like the Vault issuer. We got a lot of stuff to do with issuing from Vault, and then you've got the Acme issuer is probably the biggest one with all its DNS
Yeah.
support. And you've got all kinds of issuers like that that are adding their dependencies to the cert-manager tree. Um, and I think we've got broad support against the maintainers about moving them out of the main tree. The biggest question is like how? Like
Mhm.
without breaking everyone, like do we move them out of tree but still ship them in our cert manager Helm chart as like just separate deployments? Like how do we make it as painless as possible for our users?
Yeah. So my thinking was obviously we start um, one by one. Like we don't do it all at once, obviously. And the things that we do migrate, I feel like we should ship them by default, uh, so that it doesn't change the possibility of like operators having to actually do something when the release comes out. What do you guys think?
Um, I haven't really thought about it enough, but yeah, I'd certainly start with a simple one. Maybe start with the Vault issuer,
Mm-hmm.
and you'd want to create a new. The goal is to not have so many have the cert-manager project depend on all these cloud modules, right? Or Vault, whatever. Oh, I don't know. I'm getting confused. I, I, yeah, I would create a prototype Vault external issuer to start with, and offer users some way to turn off the in-tree Vault issuer and have cert-manager not somehow not look at certificate
Mm-hmm.
requests which are referencing that issuer,
I mean,
and then
cert-manager,
give clear instructions on how to turn on the new external Vault issuer.
yeah. So yeah, those are that's a good roadmap. Like the crucial bit will be the logic inside cert manager to say stop signing things that even if their issuer types or cluster issuer types don't sign this, like some way of
Mm.
determining not to sign it. The other thing is that's the current issuer lib um, is kind of not built around, but like built in mind of having a specific CRD for an issuer. So if I was
Mm-hmm.
creating a new issuer for, I don't know,
Mm.
CyberArk, there'd be a CyberArk issuer object. Um, Whereas our entry ones are part of this, and we probably don't want to break that. But this is a V1 API. We want this to continue working. So we'd want the new Vault issuer to still look at issuer objects, but filter out and only care about the ones with this sectioning, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So
We
then,
still want like the same kind of object, but if it has spec Acme, then we want to reject it basically.
yeah, so like we with all the ones we move out of tree would essentially still watch issuer and cluster issuer objects. They
Mhm.
just only care about the ones that are have config relating to themselves, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Okay, that makes sense. And also, so I had a question. So when we move out, for example, like the Acme issuer, right? Are we going to move the DNS solvers too, along with those, or are they going to stay in cert-manager?
I think the DNS solvers would move out of tree, but that's probably one of the more complicated ones given the webhook mechanism and stuff like that. So we need to figure out and make sure we don't break anything there. And I'd also love to move all the DNS providers out of the Acme tree, but that's a whole other that has a whole other like step after issuers are moved out.
Mhm.
But
Hemant, why, but just a minute, maybe just say again, why are we doing all this work? What's the root, what's the fundamental reason for embarking on this?
The fundamental reason is we want to not have any cloud dependencies in our,
Why?
because it gets overwhelming, and that's kind of the way Kubernetes has done things, right? Like Kubernetes doesn't have any cloud dependencies on its own.
Okay, okay.
I think it's not it's Kubernetes. We get requests for new issuers, and we have to
Yeah.
say like we don't accept new entry ones. So we've got this split pattern of anything new is going to be external, but we've got this like legacy internal. So just from like a code tidiness and like practicing what we preach perspective, moving everything out of tree so it's consistent kind of makes sense. There's also the case of dependencies. We do have a ton of dependencies, and going back to what Mael was saying earlier about the security scanning and how these reports you get from having dependencies, the bigger our dependency footprint, the more that's going to ding us. So minimizing dependency footprint of cert-manager, for example, means like we won't have to, you won't have to release a new version every time a cloud dependency has like a CVE against it.
Mhm.
s-
Yeah,
s-
yeah, okay. So, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. So ultimately, the cert-manager Helm chart could still deploy these
yeah, I,
blessed external issuers with the right version of the external issuer image at the time of the cert-manager release. But if there was if there's a CVE in the AWS SDK, the person who's using that Acme external issuer can simply redeploy cert-manager with this new version. Sorry, we release a new version of the Acme external issuer and tell people to update the version in their Helm chart. We don't
yeah,
need to do a whole new release of cert-manager itself.
yeah, and that those blessed ones in the Helm chart, I think that's going to be key to making sure we don't break anyone. Is everything that's currently in tree, we continue to deploy for now as default options within the Helm chart. Like
Yep.
in the future, that may change, but for now, we continue to deploy in the Helm chart. I also think we already have like an official AWS issuer that's maintained by another team. I'd be more open to having more official issuers if they weren't going to go in tree and other teams were going to manage them. Like if Cloudflare wanted theirs to be in tree and they wanted to manage it, I'd be more open to that if it was once we have this pattern of external issuers.
But that's like a private CA issue, right? It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
a public one.
Well, no, privacy is yeah, it's about issuing certs against AWS private CA. So anyone can run it. You just have to pay for privacy.
Yeah.
I think Adam's not talking about the private CA issuer as a replacement for the
No, no, I'm
the
talking about
in-tree system. It's just that uh, we it would be more commonplace to have these sponsored
yeah.
external issuers.
We have precedent for official issuers that aren't cert-manager, like core maintainer maintained. Like, so if someone wants an official issue, I'll be more open to it, especially if we could go to companies that we have internal entry ones for and go, could you sponsor or provide infrastructure for testing of these entry issuers? Because we don't have testing for like a bunch of entry issuers because we don't have like the infrastructure. But
If the problem as well is the cloud, all these cloud, if a big reason for doing this is the cloud dependencies, which most of which are there because of our DNS01 features. Like maybe could we start by like splitting out some of the DNS01 code into DNS01 webhooks, make it so that that's the first thing we should do.
I think that both are valid things we should do. It's just a question of order. The reason I would lean towards doing issuers first, I think it'd be like especially for things like Vault, I think it'd be easier.
It would be easier, yeah.
Yeah. And DNS01 would impact probably 95% of our customers. Or
Impact.
60,
Like
70.
we'd want to do it in such a way that it would be seamless. Like
Yeah, exactly.
splitting out the Vault issuer won't reduce our cloud dependencies very much, I suppose.
Not by a lot.
Yeah. But it'll have these other benefits that we've just talked about.
I mean, the cloud dependency, as soon as we move Acme out into its own issue, all those cloud dependencies will go with it.
Oh yeah.
So we just have another repo with lots of other cloud dependencies in it. Yeah, DNS01, a quick cursory look, like because of the way it works with group and solver names, and those are the basis of the webhook. It'd be a pain because we'd either have to figure out a way to rewrite it, or we'd have to move the group, like move this logic to like be basically inferred from internal ones.
Yeah.
And again, like just for the sake of arguing, we will still have these cloud dependencies. They'll just be somewhere else. When one of these cloud dependencies has a vulnerability, we will still be obliged to release that new Docker image and make people aware of it. So it won't reduce our workload, will it?
Well, it would reduce the amount of like updates you have to do cert-manager call. And a lot of the code bases for our cloud dependencies like are changed so infrequently that the basic upkeep would just be like every now and then do a release with the latest version of dependencies. So it just means that all that moves out of cert-manager core, giving you a better dependency structure because you've got less in there, less things to alert on if there's CVEs, and it just means like you have less
fewer people affected by these CVEs because not everyone is using the.
Yeah, and also people can turn off ones. I'd say it totally feasible for an admin to go like, you know what, I only need cert-manager core and the Vault issuer, like, or a home like lab user going, I just need cert-manager core and Acme, like.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. And even in Acme, probably they need Cloudflare or Route 53, not every like webhook.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love for the webhooks to be pluginized as well, in internal ones. I think that's more effort, but I get to a point where we've got small testable units. Because at the moment, say for example, I don't know, Acme servers having issues, or like the Acme staging servers having issues, like that would break our test for cert-manager currently. Like we want to. Ideally, when writing software, I'd love to have the core application be tested. The only things that writes the core application be tested when you do a cert-manager release, and everything else has their own repo with its own tests. That hopefully we can maybe even attract some people from those companies to PR fixes in.
Yep.
I think it's cert-manager is so abundant now these days. It is not against. It's in most cloud providers' best interest for it to work smoothly.
Yep.
I think what we probably need is a test case. Like we need. Let's go again. We need a example of moving the Vault one out, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe a feature gate. So we can feature gate out like Vault from cert-manager, or like we should probably come up with a standard for the feature gate. Like when the storage drivers moved out of tree, Kubernetes had a standardized format for the feature gates that turned them off. So we could have like feature gate in tree issuer Vault.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so coming back, so what do you think should be the first action item?
Write down all the good reasons we're doing this. So I don't have to. You don't have to ask. I don't have to ask the question again.
That's not a bad
I
point.
don't want. I'm not. I don't want to say write what do we call it? A
Design
cert-manager
document.
design document, because that will kill the project. But I mean, just write down somewhere these reasons for doing it.
Okay.
You'll say kill the project, but you can just ask ChatGPT to write it for you, and then PR.
Yeah, these days. By the way, I just thought of another good reason for this. Is like at the moment, it would allow if the Vault issuer was an external issuer, it could be used in the absence. If the Vault issuer is an external issuer and the API was a separate Helm chart, it could be used in the absence of cert-manager itself. It could be used with CSI driver alone. Or if it's based on issuer lib, I think, doesn't it support like the Kubernetes version of certificate request was?
If you think about if you strip out all the issuers, all cert-manager is doing is converting certificate objects to certificate requests and approving a certificate request by default.
And the renewal.
And the renewal. But if you just needed a CSI driver and you had the what's it called, the approver policy deployed, you could not deploy core cert-manager, deploy approver policy, CSI driver, and Vault issuer, and get away with just those three.
Yeah. It's a shame we didn't turn on the transcription. And we booted out the note taker, but
there's the AI companion. We could ask it. I'll have to ask the host. Mysterious maintainer. Zoom is
there's a
always
recording of this. This has been recorded, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Zoom is recording it, and also because it's being recorded, the AI companion is active.
Right. Yeah, so that's what I would do first. Write down the reasons for doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then do we start with Vault? Like, is that the first candidate?
Yeah.
Vault's
you have to start with issuer lib, won't you? Because to make it work with cert-manager issuers.
I think the main thing is filtering. I think you work with any CRD. The main thing is adding the filtering capability to it.
I've got to go. I'm being evicted from the office, so nice to see you all.
Nice to see you all. It is actually 3 past, so I think we wrap it there, and I'll do the outro.
Yeah.
So
bye.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Hemant.
Lovely to see you all. Remember to like and subscribe. When it eventually goes on YouTube, and I'll see you all next stand up I'm at, or next bi-weekly.
See ya.